I'm gonna restart this video here. One sec. I gotta get distracted.
A tunnel, which is more than this. Only this specific area is more than 300 meters of a tunnel. So this area goes directly outside of the hospital, approximately to one of the areas outside, maybe a mosque, maybe an apartment, and it's blocked. It's blocked and sealed.
Wait,
they knew that
what
we
did?
were going to come here more than a month ago, and they sealed it. And now we're going to see the infrastructure of the tunnel.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
And this is the way to the street, meaning this is a way that goes outside from the hospital. We are talking about a tunnel.
What hospital?
Come here more than a month ago, and they sealed it. And now we're going to see the infrastructure of the tunnel.
Oh, we'll keep watching.
This tunnel is a complex tunnel. It's not the ones that we know. It's more convenient for long living, like you have toilets and you have rooms that were built in order to contain people. But this room is an operational room that had communication with electricity provided from the sources of the hospital, meaning the
So there's gonna be two major things that we got to think about. And we've known for a long time. Israel has said for a long time, and even like if you want to think about how far back this was known, just in the public knowledge, Elon Musk a long time ago pointed out about drilling holes underground. He said that like, okay, well that's basically, well, he alluded to having to talk to Israel or Israeli, I guess, engineers about holes being dug underneath the ground, which obviously we're talking about the Palestinians. They are saying that Hamas is using the tunnel as a way of moving from the hospital to other front lines. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly what they're saying. Because there's a lot of people that are full out denying it right now, and they're saying no, that Hamas doesn't do this. This is the definition of using people as human shields. If there are military compounds and military tunnels running in and out of hospitals, then it is like you're using or out of a civilian hospital. That's really important. Military hospitals are a little bit different. Then you are using civilians as human shields. The two major things I want to point out are, I don't know who this guy is, and maybe some other viewers might if you're on the YouTube channel watching it. And also, too, we've got no guarantee of the location of this. He just says under the hospital. So we can take a peek into it in a second and actually see what's going on. Ben says you recognize it from a CNN video. There are sources, yes, but I want to figure out exactly where this is. I'm sure like CNN being a relatively trustworthy source is good, but it's nice to know where, like, what am I looking at as opposed to just looking at like where this is coming from, because CNN has been wrong before in the past.
Hospital is providing electricity. This room.
But I'm more likely to believe this kind of video than anything else, because this is somebody outright showing who they are. They have the Israeli flag saying, "Hey, I'm part of this." Like they're representing their bias, I guess, of their side in general, which is good. Like, you want people to do that. He seems like a pretty legit video overall. He's an officer. That's all you know of him. Exactly. That's what I would trust. We'll look into that in a second.
You can see how long it is. The warriors in front of us are going inside the tunnel. You can see a small kitchen. So it will provide them food, water, etc. All these facilities of water and food are coming from the hospital, meaning they're using the hospital infrastructures. They're using the hospital infrastructures in order to provide this terror mechanism to stay alive and survive. I want to show you more rooms. More rooms. This is a room, where you can sleep, eat, make command control.
This would be a terrible life.
And air conditioning. This air conditioning goes above the hospital. One of the reasons that allows us to understand this complex is that we found the engine of the air conditioner, of course, outside, next to the Qatari compound inside the hospital. Electricity, full electricity. The gear that was inside here was evacuated before we entered. But look at the ceiling. This is not just a regular tunnel. This is a high facility compound.
This is crazy. Like, it is all really cheap building material, it looks like, and it is all like standard office supplies. So it looks like, to me,
Also more toilets here.
because this is more like civilian, like this is standard stuff that you'd buy at a hardware store, that it is stuff that they got from a hardware store. So it's probably materials and resources that were purchased under the guise of it being for the hospital or for housing or for something. And I'm making a huge assumption here, but that's what this stuff is, because military grade material doesn't really look like this. There's also no reason for the military to make anything like this. So for example, what I would be expecting is everything to be poured concrete. Like, that's a huge, to me, that's a big giveaway in the most of these areas. Poured concrete, and probably, yeah, just less garbage stuff if you're going to be building some kind of military compound. I could be wrong, and I know, actually, you know, yeah, there's just a lot of civilian stuff here that I'm seeing it from someone who spent a bunch of time building things. It just looks a little weird. That's all. It doesn't make any sense as to why they would be. Well, it does make sense why you would choose the things that they did. Nice big picture of his ass.
Of course, they tried to seal it. They tried to seal it also with sand and other components that we will not be able to enter here. We evacuated the sand. We opened up those entrance so we can go in, but they trying to ruin this tunnel in order for us not to be able to enter.
Evacuate the sand is an odd choice of words. Yeah, English isn't their native language. I wouldn't put too much detail. So, what I would be concerned about is if they don't have a large vocabulary on the thing that they're an expert in, or at least have an attempt, like a lot of descriptors. Somebody who doesn't know the language, like doesn't know, let's say somebody could be an expert in frogs and doesn't know the word for frog, they may go jumping slime creature, and you're like, well, that's a little weird, a little funky way of saying it, but they, like, it's a descriptor. So there's a lot, you're gonna see a lot of descriptors in places where English isn't their native language. You know,
stairs here going down. Electricity from all over the sides, or electricity.
like, this is very, well, not very military grade. That's what gets me. I know things are built very hastily in times of war, but it doesn't make sense to have all of this stuff sitting out. Because all it takes is just for someone to get in the tunnel, cut the tunnel, and you lose all power. So a lot of the times you'd actually run these wires inside some type of conduit behind the tunnels that you've dug, behind the things that you've put up. Or underneath the ground. Like,
gear, of course, comes out.
You have all this floor space, you just dig just a little bit lower, and then you put all the conduits down below.
To this stir mechanism of the tunnel. This is a unique signature of the arches. The arches are a unique technique by HAMAS, building the tunnels. It's something that was designed in the last 15 years. This unique every area that we see arches are, we understand that it assembles, that it has a tunnel next to it. This is how we revealed some of the tunnels, so it's a unique structure. of Hamas tunnels in the last 15 years.
Well funded. Well, is Hamas well funded? As well as we know, other countries gave them guns, but do they have enough infrastructure to build well-made tunnels? It's infrastructure, it's training, it's also too, a lot of what they do is undercover. So he's saying that like the arches are one thing that he's noting. You could imagine a lot of these concrete structures could be considered something for another project. I'm noticing a lot of what they've built the materials from are things that you could use basically anywhere. These arches could easily be walls, rounded walls, for some kind of project. These concrete barriers on the side, they are so indescript. There's no way you'd be able to tell that they were going to be put underground while they were being made. So you'd imagine trying to build some kind of project, and you want to be able to build a whole bunch of tunnels with it, but you also want to be able to build, let's say, roads and paths with it. Well, you would imagine going, well, we're going to create a whole bunch of gutters to go along the side of the roads, and then slabs we're going to use as basically to hold whatever wall barriers, whatever dirt barriers that they put up along the way. And then they build those, ship them off to a different area, stick them underground, use them for tunnels. You make the exact same parts that work across the exact same process in two different systems. That's what a lot of like dictators do when they're sneaking in materials into a country. They just do stuff that an average person looking at it would be like, okay, yeah, that looks to me like a skate park. And you're just like, oh yeah, cool, it's totally a skate park. I feel like I'm in Hamas's tunnels with them.
The warriors, it took time to make sure that this area is not booby-trapped. We were worried that it was booby-trapped. Cleaning this area, opening it so we can go inside, was a huge task for the forces of the special units that were here.
זה לאן לוקח? זה לרחוב? זה לרחוב?
Where the warrior is standing here, it goes directly to the street. Meaning it again goes out from the hospital to the north side of the hospital, where we found another tunnel which has an elevator like the Rantisi tunnel, and it goes up and goes out. So it's all a tunnel systems that ends in the hospital. It's a mechanism of a tunnel system.
So we know it's Gaza Strip.
Turn left and go out again in the hospital, just to see the size of the tunnel.
Gaza Strip Hospital.
This is the blast. This is the blast door, the one that we opened, where we have seen in the movie that we reached to the blast door. We took us time to open it. We were making sure it's not booby trapped. These blast doors allows them to prevent.
Yeah, so Gaza City, this is the thing. There's a few hospitals in Gaza City. My guess is I've heard a lot from the Nasser hospital recently. But it's hard to tell exactly which hospital it is. Oh.
Blasts by our Air Force, meaning it can maintain the preservation of parts of the tunnel to be protected, and also it's part of fighting. So if an enemy reaches to the door, you can fight him through the door. So it's a really sophisticated mechanism in that sense, designed to fight. And all this mechanism above us is a hospital. Above us, patient, wounded, doctors, all being a human shield for this tunnel system here at Shifa Hospital.
What would he say? Shifa Hospital. Shifa Hospital. This one right here. This is it. That's what he's talking about. So the tunnels, according to this video, he is right below this building right here. And he's saying that the path that we're looking at, so the direction of this video right here is this direction right here. Oh crap.
This is the blast. It's part of the
Yeah, we saw the blast doors.
electricity. You see, is the electricity that provide the communication, the command and control. Meaning, from those tunnels, you can command and control all the terror mechanism waging war outside in Gaza. This is why all the battalion's commander, all the senior commander terrorists came here to command their operation. Went outside, went back to the hospital to do command and control.
They plastered some of this stuff. So you can take a look at the walls, how they kept that block barrier set up, but it appears that they've cleaned some areas up by plastering everything. Now, plastering is more of like a creature comfort. It also does help with moisture. It helps. I don't know what type of plaster it is. So I imagine there's probably some really nice places in these underground paths.
This is the way out with the stairs. This way out,
You can see they filled it.
with the bulldozer. All the sand fell down, so it's not now it's not available to go out. But we will show you, because you remember the movie that we showed